Moon gang. Hello, folks. Let's get connected to NASA here. Just getting ready for the space station. Folks. Hello. Happy Wednesday, September 15th. And as you know, it's always a beautiful day to be named. I hope everyone is having a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time it is for you. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic one. Let's hop right into it. Let's hop about what's going on. As you can see, I have SPRT and GRE up over here. We know SPRT is getting, it's kind of merging. I mean, GRE is a bigger company. SPRT, I believe, will represent, about 8%, 8.5% of GRE. I have them up. Neither are trading yet. Let's see how that goes today. Should be, just give us something to watch, something to pay attention to. But before we get into stocks, just a very quick crypto update for you. Ethereum hanging out at 3,400. Ethereum, I honestly think it's kind of an interesting opportunity. Looks like it's trying to break out. So watch for Ethereum to hold 3,400 and look for it to eventually get above whatever this kind of tranche level is. Let's call it somewhere between 3,500 and 600. Above that, I very much think it's going back to pushing 4,000. I own Ethereum. I'm in it. I'm bullish on it. Long-term hold. Same with Cardano. Cardano's had a bit of a weird experience lately. It went through that Alonzo stake or the Alonzo fork, excuse me. Massively important, massively important, just by the sheer fact that, hey, it's competitive with Ethereum. They both have these smart contracts. So that went live as of September 12th. So about 3 days ago. Exciting stuff. Hey, everything you see on the screen, I think we're at an interesting point where with this crazy story between AMC and GME, it's attracting so many new people. The craziness in crypto attracting so many people. And I just want to quickly remind everyone that we're in a day and age where people, it almost seems like many aspects of their life, but I'm just here, I guess, to commentate on more of the financial aspects of things. People are unwilling to, I guess, everyone's trying to put off, or everyone's trying to have instant gratification instead of putting it off. But just so you know, your friendly neighborhood reminder, massive wealth, lots of money, it takes time. It is very, very common for serious money and serious gains and serious changes in your financial status. A lot of it happens to be a function of time. And I think there's a lot of people who try to romanticize and sell you this concept of, I trade every day and I make thousands of % in the green every day, huge returns. Do I think that some people out there do it? Yeah, I do. I do think that there's some very, very good day traders who, for whatever reason, the way their brain functions, however it is, their understanding of the market, I do believe that most people, I do believe that there's people in that scenario, but by no means is it average. Some of the statistics I see, 95% of people who attempt day trading, it ends up becoming a net loss for them. You might be in that rare group, that 5 to 10%, but understand that money, wealth, you like kind of going up to that next rung in just like the financial, I guess, bearing of this world, a lot of it comes from a function of time. Picking things early when they're cheap and being invested for it in the long haul, whatever time that is, multiple months, multiple years, multiple decades, and riding it up. The stories of, and I'm talking about this within crypto because like I'm just seeing more and more of like these people trying to like pump basically these random little coins, when really the big wealth was these people who got into Ethereum super early, Bitcoin super early, Cardano super early, Solana super early, even Hex super early. It's people who get into it early, realize what the project is about, and they're not actively trading it. In fact, some of the people who make the most money, they're not really traders at all. They're just saying, hey, I see a trend in technology or a trend in maybe just something fulfilling a certain point of value. They get into it and they sit there. They're not really active traders. And honestly, even these stocks, the people who got early into Apple, Microsoft, Google, even right now, the people who got into AMC and GME, the people who are up the most right now are people who got in January or before that, and they're not actively trading. They're not doing some fancy schmancy like in, out, checking this out, checking that out. I think there's a time and place for it. It can be fun, but understand that these huge gains, it's people who make a bet early on, they stick to the bet, and they don't do anything. I wouldn't say that they're really active traders at all. It's like these people who got into GameStop sub $30, the people who got into AMC sub $6, sub $5, maybe even less. It's just people who got into it early. They bought it. They had conviction and they sat there. They're not doing, oh man, is this camera jumping again? It's so frustrating. Hang on, let me try moving this light. Let's see if that fixes anything today. I think my camera gets just very, very excited in the morning. But overall, I guess this is important to talk about because I don't want people to somehow conflate the two of like picking something that you're doing a nice long-term bet on, and then like all of a sudden you're turning what you originally thought was a long-term bet into what, just like actively trading in and out. That's a skill set. Active trading, day trading, even short-term swing trading, that's a skill set that has to be mastered, and it takes a while to get it mastered. And I just don't want anyone, I'm so sick and tired of these people like across crypto, across options, across stocks, across futures. There's just so many scams going on, and it's so sickening because they're playing into people's I guess desire for hope of like, they really are. Like, honestly, it's just like, hey, without doing much, I could teach you over a couple months and you're going to be making thousands of % a day. Folks, that is not how the world works. If there was something like that where like, hey, this skill set, it just does not work like that. That's not how our world functions right now. It's very much that old saying of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. With it, and the reason I'm talking about it is just honestly, this morning I was reading about more of these scams, and the scams, they are in literally every single sector out there. So folks, please remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And anyone pitching you this concept of like, hey, just like take my 1 week course, give me a couple $1,000 and you're going to be a multimillionaire before you know it. No. It's just not how it works. True money, true wealth. You're an early investor. You have high conviction. You get into it and you just bet on your thesis and you see how your thesis plays out like a good function of time later. But anyway, I went off on that tangent just because I was reading about more and more people getting scammed. And I just think it's really sad. So please be careful. Please be careful with any scam attempt. Anyone trying to say, hey, I have a secret investment opportunity. I have like this huge opportunity that no one else has heard of before. Probably all a complete lie. Let's talk about what's going on in the overall market. Ever since September 2nd, the S&P 500 has been selling off. Yesterday, a weird day. We've had 4 red days in a row. Definitely a bit of a downtrend. I am still looking. It was really close to it yesterday, and it seems like we're opening up a little positive this morning. But I'm still watching this 442.5 is kind of this level I'm watching. I want to see if we're going to bounce off of that, or if we break through, there might be kind of an additional sell-off to the 337, 336 level somewhere in here. But if that happens, no reason to panic. No reason whatsoever to panic. First of all, I would argue that it's somewhat of a healthy correction. Look at this. All we've done is up, up, up. If we come back to here, that is A-okay. You can make money both ways. You could ride it down. You could ride the bounce back up. Or you could just be patient and understand that, like, hang on, okay, you might get a little bit of a percentage hit in your account, but overall, we're looking pretty freaking good. It's okay to have a little bit of that healthy correction. And even if this does lead to a bigger sell-off, don't panic. Look at it as an opportunity. You'll be able to make some money on the downside. And when the downside's over and we see buyers step in, well, that's where you buy everything on discount. And this kind of actually relates to what I was just talking about. You buy things when they're cheap. You become you create a nice position at a good risk to reward opportunity. And you create that as your basis and you ride it out from there. That's when the market rips, drops, or go sideways, please understand that there's opportunity in all of that. You just have to know how to play it. With reference to the Russell 2000, we're just paying attention to this because AMC happens to be the biggest stock within it. Just so you know, we did have this breakdown of 221 yesterday. Now we're at 220. Looks like it does want to head back to this 218 level. So I'm watching that on the Russell 2000. 218, important commentary. About over the past week and a half, we know that AMC is the biggest stock within it. And it's really been kind of bucking the trend. It's been saying, hey, even though the Russell 2000 is going down, AMC is going up, up, up. That kind of, it fought it as long as it could, and then it kind of caught up to reality with the Russell 2000 yesterday. Yesterday, AMC closed at 47.30. Today, it looks like we are going to open up down $1. We do have pretty noteworthy support around between 45 and 46, I would say, is support. And we also have additional support at 42. Right here, we have to watch the opening. We really do, and we have to watch it throughout the day just because the sole fact of we don't know if AMC is going to continue to buck the trend, or is it finally catching up to reality with what the overall larger market is doing. But this, you could even sense it yesterday. I think people kind of got bummed out that we had one red day, and I think I even titled this, or maybe I did title it this, when in doubt, zoom out. Please understand that yesterday's 8.5% drop is not much in comparison to the fact that at one point we were up 76%, and even from the recent run on August 11th, we're talking about 1 month ago, we're still up 61%. I think this still, when people have, and I'm not saying you're wrong for having like that type of emotional response, because it's your money at play. I get it. Money can be a very, very emotional thing. But I think to help tamper maybe a negative emotional response, please understand that like this play is not an instant gratification play. Every single day, you're not going to be like, oh, more money, more money, more money, more money. This, I think this is almost more commentary on like crowd psychology and what really our society has gone to is everyone wants success, and they want success every single day, day in and day out, and they want it. And that's not how the market works. I mean, We've had crazy success. We had some boring periods. We had some negative periods. We had some boring periods. Then we had some positive periods. If one red day, I mean, we've been through worse, folks. We have been through far, far worse. And the people who end up staying convicted to the trade are the ones who end up making out. I mean, it's the ones who battled it out at these crazy levels at $6, at $8, sub $10. And it's those people who have convictions, and I could say the exact same thing is true with GME. GME actually holding up very, very nicely. After this shoot up, we had the lower highs, the higher lows, the fake out, breakout, and it's still battling out at 200. They tried to take GME out after the earnings announcement, but the public did not care. It gapped down and people bought it all the way back up. And right now, that key technical and psychological level at 200 is acting as a magnet. Love the fact that GME showed so much strength to bounce off of. I mean, they tried to annihilate GameStop at 178, and instead they pushed it right back up, and we're battling it out at 200. Would love to see it take out 205 first, then 208 and a bit of change, and then the region from 212 to 215. We do have support. I want to see it stay at that 200 level, but there is additional support between 190 and 188 on GME. In terms of the Ortex numbers, let's just update these to see what's going on today. They've already borrowed $670,000 against AMC today on a net of 612, short interest of 19.38%, utilization 88, and shares on loan 108 million. In terms of GME, there's been a small net return of 43,000 shares, short interest of 13.66% on a utilization of 35, and a shares on loan of 7.5 million. So those are the numbers we're going to start off with today. I want to see how everything like does or doesn't react, of course, right at market open, but just so you have a better idea of what's going on with the shorts. To sum those up, yes, the fact that people are spewing the rhetoric of like, oh, the shorts have dried up, they're gone. Well, the data is actually exactly opposite. It's exactly opposite. No, the shorts have not dried up. There are still actively a lot of money betting against these two, which inherently for us just means that in the event of nice positive price action, technical breakouts, the shorts are going to feel more and more pressure. So any of this rhetoric of just like, oh, the shorts are gone, like no one's shorting it. It's like, well, no, the data is actually telling us literally the exact opposite. I see a couple comments about SPRT. It wasn't delisted. Remember, it transferred into GREE, greenage right here. It absorbed SPRT through a merger. So it's going to be trading under this. GREE. Here we go. I know some people were doing the math of talking about it around 100 based on it. Hang on. Let's see what SPRT. Oh, it's not even showing up anymore. It got rid of its chart. Interesting. I thought they would at least have the recent charting information. Maybe your brokerage does, but here's GREE. This is what SPRT got put into, but don't think of it as the exact same because it's not. GREE has quite a bit of baggage. In fact, SPRT by definition is actually a minority of what's going on in this company now. The things we previously known about SPRT, it has a little bit of influence, but it's not the driving factor anymore on GREE, but more than happy to check this out. If you own SPRT shares, calls, or puts, it will get credited to your account at a proper proportionate rate to GREE. Once again, shares, calls, puts, you will get the credited GREE at the proper proportionate rate. It is not 1-to-1. It's about like 1 to like, I don't know, roughly 0.115, I believe is the number. 0.115 is the rough number, but that will show up in your account. You don't have to do anything special. So you will be now hopefully the proud owner of GREE if you are in SPRT. Good morning, Matt. Have you seen the supposed glitch with a bunch of U.S. Treasury bonds dropping 100% this morning? Nope, I haven't. I don't know if it's just a data software thing. You see weird things and then they just correct it quickly. That is not really representative of the price. It's more of the technology you're using. The brokerage is showing you messed up data or something along those lines. What's your thought on IRNT? IRNT, it just started trading recently, getting activity. It started moving on August 26th. So I don't like it because of that. But if we didn't, concern ourselves with that, it is looking pretty strong. We have this gap up today. If the gap up can hold, we might be testing and breaking out above 30. For me, I wouldn't take a position on IronNet, but I do admit from a technical perspective, this is looking strong. This is looking pretty strong. Matt, just make the red go away, please. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to run outside naked. JK, I am pissed though. What's going on, Mike? If you can't handle a $5 drop, how do you expect to handle the actual squeeze? This is why I shake my head when people say 500K, Cesar Morales. Yeah, I think people, and I get it, and I don't think that they're wrong. It's just because we have to remember, we have so many people who are new to the market and maybe they don't have the best understanding of how things do or don't move. But a $4.39 drop on AMC, a $4.16 drop. It's just par for the course. This is how a market works. You're not going to always have green. And I think that people have to temper their expectations of day over day results. And I think some of the people within this community are not good for the community because every day they're pitching you this rhetoric of every day we should be up 100%. And you know what? We should be up more. Every single day we should be up 1,000%. No, we should be up 5,000%. That's just not how the market works. And I don't like when people pitch that because I do think that it is damaging to our community in a certain sense, because whenever we have these unmet expectations, well, that's when people get mad and pissed off and they're making bets that they shouldn't make based on information from someone who's exclusively trying to get karma and likes and views. They're trying to tell you what they think you want to hear instead of their best rendition of what they believe is going on in reality. There are many people out there who are using the community to grow I guess, their social clout in a certain sense. And instead of telling you what they truly think, they're telling you what they think you want to hear. Because in the world of social media, confirmation bias is a very, very strong thing. And people love confirmation bias. Like, they would rather, yeah, we're slowly but surely, and I honestly don't even know if it's that slow, but it seems like we're trending away from people don't necessarily want the hard truth of a situation. Instead, they would rather just like a comforting lie of a certain sense. And right now, AMC yesterday, GME, they both took a hit. Is that good? No, of course we want more and more green, but does one red day, especially when you check out either of the charts, like ruin it? No. One green day does not make us. One red day does not break us. We are still trending upward. There are still shorts. That is the truth of the situation. Thoughts on IVC, TradingView Premium, $1 right now to IVC. Medical Specialties. It's a $6 stock that doesn't even trade 2 million shares, and it just had a gap down. I wouldn't mess with it. One of these days it might gap fill, but I wouldn't do that until I see some buying. What are your thoughts on the IRNT short squeeze hype? I didn't even know it was a short squeeze candidate. Let me check it out on Ortex. Ortex might not even have it since it was recently uplisted on the New York Stock Exchange. The short interest is 11%, utilization 100%, super low float, super low float. So that's interesting. The short interest isn't exactly where I would want it to see, just because I don't know how many people are like the community support. But I mean, not even from a short squeeze. I just like the chart. Like, I think the chart looks strong. I wish it was trading for longer so we had more technical levels to play off of. But this chart is flexing. It's showing some strength. Morning. You should watch some ordinary gamers' recent videos about one of those just recently people being scammed, like Rice Gum and other social media douches. People saying to the moon look bad. Yeah. There's so many scams, like, and it's the sobering reality that some people in this world are pieces of shit, and they are looking to scam other people for whatever reason. If they're trying to get money or social credit, like whatever it is, people are gonna scam. And unfortunately, there are people like that in all communities. So you just have to be careful. Please be careful of these scammers. What's happening with BBIG? What is happening with BBIG? BBIG, I want to see this recapture 9 and then 10. BBIG, True Demon does have some interesting information on this one. About like just where they're trying to peg the price just because of what's going on in the options market and fails to deliver and what they can or can't cover. I would love to see BBIG recapture 9 and then especially recapture of 10 fully back in play. What else do we have? Can you give some context in what happened with SPRT? I woke up and it was delisted in Webull. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this merger for a while. GREE, it was merged with that, so it's going to be trading under that ticker. What happens with SPRT options? Same. It's all going to be converted. My SPRT have not transferred to GRE yet. Well, first of all, the market's not open and it might take a second, but it'll convert. Hood $5 put for this Friday, possible ATER, please. It's possible, but highly unlikely. That would be a huge drop. ATER, after that breakdown yesterday at 15, it just continued to sell. It's at pre-market. It's down even more, down 7% at this base. If buyers start to step in at 10, that might be an opportunity, or there might be opportunity in, if it breaks below 10, riding it all the way down to 8. You can play these both ways. This is not a community or a group of people who like exclusively go long. Like if you think you're seeing weakness, well, you can make money both ways. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, if you're in the market, your goal is to make money. But if you're trying to ride something up, up, down, or if you structure an options position where you're looking for no movement at all, whatever that is, just have a trading plan. I think that's become one of the core things I'm attempting to pitch on this channel is please have a plan. Don't just get into a stock, whether betting on it up, down, options, futures, crypto, any of that. Just have a plan. I don't care what your plan is, but it should at least be like, okay, what is my risk? Where will it have to go that I'm like, okay, I got this wrong, and you cut it for a loss, but hopefully a manageable loss. And what's your reward? Are you looking for a price level, a percentage gain? Are you looking to be trend following? Just have somewhat of an idea. Don't get into a play, and then when it moves, whether up a lot or down a lot, I don't want this concept of people, the deer in the headlights, and be like, oh, it moved. What do I do now? That is not a good time. You should know your plan before you put any money on the table. Hey, Matt, what is your opinion on Doge? I'm in Cardano and Ravencoin. So I don't know much about Ravencoin. I like Cardano. As for Doge, I wouldn't bet against Doge the same way I think it's silly to bet against AMC and GME, especially right now. It's just, you cannot discount the value of a huge community support, and that's exactly what Doge has. The way AMC has it, the way GME has it, so does Doge. That's one of the biggest learning things or lessons I've learned over the past 6 months is when there's huge social support for something, it's really hard to beat that thing. And I put Doge in that category. Yes, it's in the world of crypto, but there are millions of people who are supporting Doge, and it has some other good psychological things going on with it. So, I mean, Doge, the chart's not looking the best, but even I've learned when the charts don't look the best, I mean, still these things, huge community support. How can they only be allowing sell to close on GRE? You have to be a buyer or seller. Because that's probably just your brokerage. For you to sell, there's still a buyer, but just because your brokerage is stopping it. And GRE, I don't even know if that's necessarily true, if someone else can confirm that. Is it possible to short crypto? Yes.
Whoa, brother. Big super chat.
RSI and AMC is oversold on the 1 hour. That should cheer up some apes who are worried. Yeah, I mean, folks, if you liked AMC and you were buying it above 50, you should love it at 46. All right, we have already some early morning Gregs. Hey, Matt, did shorts cover? No, I'm going back to bed. Wake me up when they start. Matt, this is an opportunity for you to buy the AMC market dip. I truly feel as if AMC's slide is partially driven by external market catalysts. Yeah, I mean, the market, the S&P 500, the Russell 2000 showing weakness. I thought it was an opportunity yesterday. Like I said, I got out of all my AMC calls and just converted over to AMC shares. I thought it was an opportunity. I saw volatility drying up, so I was like, all right, probably not the best time to be in options, but I liked the discount in the price, so I was like, oh, let me just buy it on discount. MOAS imminent titles have made me unfollow many. Anyone pitching you that something is guaranteed, and you can tell them I said this. If someone is telling you something is guaranteed in the market, they do not know what they are speaking about. Nothing is ever guaranteed really in life, but especially in the market. If someone is saying this has to happen, they do not know what they're talking about. I would not say imminent. I mean, the point of this is the fact that we are fighting against a very well-funded, politically motivated establishment, and we're trying to change it for the better for ourselves and for future generations. If you don't think we're competing against very serious people who do not want us to be successful, you are absolutely fooling yourself. And then when you have all these ding-dongs out there who literally just joined the market within the past 6 months or a year and be like, trust me, bro, I know what I'm talking about. This has to happen. No, they don't know what they're talking about. How would they know what they're talking about? That it blows my mind, and it's a serious pet peeve of mine because I think that they're giving advice that they should not be giving at all, and they don't know what they're talking about. To say anything is guaranteed, I don't care if it's a stock, a future, an option, a crypto. No. There's no such thing as 100% or 0% in the markets. We live in that gray area between a 1 and 99% probability. It's a scale, but crazy things happen. Like this concept of being able to guaranteeing and saying imminent, all it is clickbait. All it is clickbait. And this concept of like, hey man, I joined the market 3 months ago, but like I know exactly what I'm talking. Like what? Insane. Ding, ding, ding. The casino is open. Let's see how we are opening up today. Let's see how we are opening up today. All right. Out of the gate, AMC around 46.25, GME at 196, SPY at 445. ATR, I just have it up for whatever reason. We could come back to that. Actually, let's put up GREE. I think a lot of people are going to be curious in how this one actually plays out. So I'll throw up GREE. Probably going to be a wild day for it. Just getting listed. I'm expecting quite a bit of volatility in this bad mamma jamma. If you're just joining in, the reason we're talking about GREE is because SPRT merged with it. So we can check out the volatility on this one. I'm expecting quite a bit of volatility. Quite a bit of volatility. So people, wait. The people who were telling me that they like couldn't trade GREE, now that the market's open, I'm just curious, just so in case anyone asks me, I could properly share the information. Like, can you trade it now? How do you decide which comments to read aloud? Big Cat. Like, I usually just look at the name such as yours and I was like, oh, that's a sick name. I wonder what they have to say. And then I read it out loud. Juts Chevy is asking for MVST. MVST. No, what is this one? Not the best looking chart, but in a shorter time frame, it shot up, came down. Look for it to get above yesterday's high. It might be swinging back around. All right, AMC, intraday high 46.60, intraday low 45.35. Let's see how it plays out. It takes a couple minutes. Let's see what the trend is for the day. GME bouncing off of 195. Looks like it's already wanting to push, I guess, roughly the 197.50 area, probably 198. We've seen some reaction to that previously. Got absolutely torched by SPRT, GRE, minus 80% in 2 days. All right, pay me. Can you touch on short exempts? What are they and how SSR doesn't really matter? Okay, so those are two very different things. Short exempts they relate to the world of market makers. So think Citadel Securities, think Virtu. Short exempts are when these market makers, they're actually allowed to go short in environments when when no one else is allowed to go short, such as SSR. SSR stands for short sale restriction, and it's what happens when a stock drops 10%. That triggers SSR, and you can only go short if the stock is uptrending for the remainder of that day and for the entire next day. So in this scenario, market makers can actually still go short outside of that rule. And it's really weird, but it's defined as basically if they think there's a good reason to go short, that they're still allowed to go short, even as SSR is on and the stock is downtrending. So that's what short exempts are. Market makers are still allowed to create a short position, a net short position, if they think it's necessary. And it's like kind of they're their own judge, which is really, really weird. But in general, does SSR protect us? No, I think it's a really, I don't know. I question the efficacy of SSR. It doesn't really seem to protect this entire, they're attempting to stop the dog pile effect. Like when a stock's going down and you have all these shorts just jumping onto it, pushing it down, 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 down. It doesn't really seem to protect us that much. All right, let me start writing down some of these requests. I don't want to forget any of these ones. So shout out to, who is this? Bales, CAN, and BTB. Question: if buy orders are redirected to dark pools, can they hold those buy orders so they don't affect the AMC price? If so, how long can they keep it? No, they cannot do it. That's another thing. This dark pool thing, you have all these people who, and when I say all these people, I really mean a small group of people that for whatever reason have developed some sort of a voice that are pitching this concept of all of our orders are being redirected to dark pools and then they hold it and there's no influence on price. There is literally no evidence of that. And anyone that has true stock market plumbing expertise, they disavow that. They say that is a poor understanding of the market and it's just not true. And we even have people pitching this concept that 60-70% of AMC and GME is trading on dark pools. That's not true. 60 to 70% or whatever those high numbers are, above 50%, is trading off exchange. That is true. But to say that all off exchange trading is dark pools is inaccurate. Most of it is being done by market, like wholesale retailers, by these market makers. A lot of people, they're posting information and data points that are actually inaccurate. They're factually wrong. And then I get into the weird spot of just saying, hey, this is wrong. Like, you have a following. Maybe you should take the time to like actually vet your own info before you put it out. And then people get mad because they feel like I'm going against their confirmation bias. And I guess in a sense, I am going against their confirmation bias, but 60, 70, 80% of trading on AMC and GME, yes, it is happening off exchange, but a majority of that block is by market makers, by wholesale retailers, by internalizers. Those are all synonymous. It's not happening on dark pools, and the percentage that is happening on dark pools, it still has a material impact on price. Is this the highest the short interest has been on AMC? It was yesterday when we exceeded 20%. People are asking about SDC. Defy the tyrant. AMC beginning of a huge cup and handle on the 3-month chart. I think that's a very fair argument, like the 50 to 50. We've been seeing cup and handles on various time frames across the board. Per TD, hang on, this is from Gary. Per TD options, the same as shares in SPRT, the 0.115 of the total option count you had yesterday. No fractional shares, cash in lieu. Mine are showing up now with the value of yesterday close. We'll take a few this AM to update. All right, thank you, Gary. Wall Street Viking getting GREE. Hey, Matt, what do you think about CCJ? This is a uranium play. It feels a bit chasey, but we'll check out the chart. 801 Ape Nation, SPRT delisted, technically, but it was more so just absorbed by GREE. On call with SoFi support. If you're having trouble seeing a ticker change for SPRT to GRE right now and don't see a buy sell button, hold tight. I am getting answers. That's from Occam's Phaser. This is probably why you have to be careful being on SoFi. SoFi isn't really considered to be some sort of like crazy, like legitimate trading brokerage. It's kind of a new kid on the block, but I don't know if it's like necessarily the safest brokerage. I haven't used it, so I can't like really like, I don't know, get into the details of it because I've just never used it. Soul message retracted. They are not allowing trading on Webull of GGRE. First, only allowing selling, and now no trading at all now that the market is open. Was able to close out an SPRT put position via TD already. That's from Gary. Thanks for reading my message. Let's go. Also, thank you for the teachings. I'm up roughly 60K year to date. Shout out, Big Cat. IRNT is already halted. On the move. Matt, I have 9 calls on SPRT for October 15th, and my E-Trade account is showing 0. Have I lost my money? Nope. Once again, switched over to GREE. Had a few shares of SPRT. Now I have none and no GREE. Kinky Kong, it will show up. You might want to call your brokers to see specifically the details of it, but you will eventually get GREE probably sooner rather than later. Why is RNT showing suspended, not halted? All my calls are showing 0.01. Is that normal? During a halt, it is. Yeah. And then as soon as it's unhalted, it goes back to whatever the normal value is. I have 30 call options on SPRT. It converted to GRE, but it's negative. Break even is 36, but it's not registering anything. But it's negative. It's probably negative because both of these have been going down. SPRT is going down, GRE is going down, so that would be hurting your inherent call position. All right, IRNT is back trading again. Folks, this is another one that I don't want. I personally think, in my own opinion, not financial advice, do what you think is best for you. IRNT is another one that you would want to file the trend, but as soon as it looks a little bit weak, you might want to lock in some profits. Ooh, I like that push on GME. So IRNT, I will throw this up on the watch list on the side. IRNT. So is AMC stock manipulated or not? I mean, I don't know how you would necessarily define manipulation. Do I think demand is suppressed and do I think supply is bloated? Yes. So if that's your definition of manipulation, then yeah, but I don't know necessarily how you're defining it. IS options can recover our price within 2 months after yesterday's loss in volatility with a 50+ strike. Within 2 months? Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, AMC can pull a crazy U-turn within a day. So 2 months, yeah. I would at least say so. What's the market doing for open? Selling. AMC getting hammered thus far, 12 minutes into the day. They took out 800,000 against it, short interest of 19.41%. AMC has traded 10 million shares, so about 1/10 of it could theoretically just be straight up shorting. Any thoughts on PROG? PROG. No. Nothing beyond the fact that I wouldn't trade it. A gap down into a penny stock. What is this? A medical, yeah, it's a biotech pharma play. Not my cup of tea. Maybe eventually it gap fills if I'm just looking at the chart, but I wouldn't mess around with it personally. We are seeing red in the market today. Indices are down, AMC is down, GME is down, ATR is down. The only thing that's up really right now is IRNT. BBIG is up. Thoughts on the daily MACD? What's a low base you'd like to see for a higher low or handle? So the MACD... today we'll probably, if we don't bounce and recover, we'll probably see like some sort of crossover. But today, like I said, we had some support between basically 45 and 46. We broke through that. The next major support, at least that we see right now, is at 42.5. There is a chance we get there. Bounce off of that, we'll have to see. Obviously, it could create a new support somewhere. This is where it caught itself on August 31st at this 44 level that AMC is currently at. But I'm just kind of watching this region of support between September 2nd and September 3rd as a major one. We'll have to watch. You have to just play these levels of support and resistance. But what I'm seeing across the market right now is just some selling. They're selling the Russell 2000. People are going risk off in the market. So I want to see this kind of bend back around. What you're seeing in AMC this morning, Well, obviously it's selling. Selling is selling. Are there some new shorts piling in? Most likely. Are there people who are panicking and selling because they're seeing that it's down? Also probably true. Selling is selling. And it for us, if you're still in AMC, if you're still in GME, in all reality, it doesn't matter much what the selling is. Like, is it someone creating a position as in shorting, or is it someone getting out of a position as in they were long and now they're getting out? It does, like, selling is selling. Selling has the same impact as other forms of selling. So right now, whatever it is, and we could theorize what it is, I would honestly right now argue that this is a combo of the two. You have some people piling onto it in terms of shorts, and then you have other people who are getting they're getting worried about their position, so they're selling. Selling is selling, folks. But what I've learned in this past 6 months on AMC and GME is these moments of heightened emotions really don't last that long. It ends up making a base and bouncing off of it. So with it, I'm going to sit here calm, cool, collected. I'm going to realize that not long ago we were sub $30. We're currently trading at 44. And if anything, I love shopping on a discount. Can't they be sitting on mountains of loan shares over time and short them all at psychological weak points to scare many out of their positions? Yeah, that's possible. What do you think about the Argo blockchain IPO? I don't know much about it, but when there's new IPOs, ICOs, I don't hop in that early because usually the hype does not add up to what like actually plays out in reality. Brought my profits from IRNT back to AMC. Shout out Sticky2K. Just so everyone knows, Sticky2K is the guy that got me the black duck shirt. So shout out to him. Happy that you're doing well with IRNT and AMC. GME just made a new intraday high. Looks like it wants to push this $200 level. Would love to see a similar amount of enthusiasm in AMC. IWM pushing, SPY pushing. Let's see if the enthusiasm in these other three things kind of finally pours back over to AMC. Does AMC have a negative beta? I don't see any consistency. It depends on your time frame. Beta is based on whatever time frame you're looking at. You could look at the beta of a day, a month, a week, a year, a decade. It all depends. Overall, though, AMC does have a positive beta, especially the longer your time frame with the S&P 500. I'm not selling. Jack to the T's. Shout out NC. Ape since March, been through all the swings. Won't lie, today is rough. What's a logical reason to explain how it takes us weeks to get a price point just to get knocked down in a matter of days? Because panic and fear is probably a stronger emotional drive than greed is. And that's actually why in the stock market, they say stairs up, elevator down. This psychology of what you're seeing in AMC. It's true for all markets. Stairs up, elevator down. And that is just because fear is a bigger driver than greed. Greed is a slow burn. People are greedy up, 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 up. And then when you sell off, it happens sometimes very rapidly. Kludge is asking for BLI. Berkeley Lights trades on the NASDAQ. Has a short interest in 9%, shares on loan of 4.35 million, a utilization of 12%. And there's actually been a net return today on both really small return shares and really small borrowed shares. Want to join Discord, but hate month subscriptions. Can you give me your hype on why your Discord is the place to be? Not your job, but you can do it best. I'm not really here to hype the Discord. The Discord is just, it's just a group of people that like outside. Okay. So like, for example, right now, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch or Rumble, the chat's a bit hectic. It's not that organized. Discord is a place for more organization during the trading day, but other than that, it's other ideas. Like, I mean, I noticed that there was some sort of need for people. They're like, hey, I love AMC and GME, but I want to learn other things. I want to make money elsewhere. And it's a group of people who talk about other stock plays, other option plays, other crypto plays. They talk about politics. They talk about gaming. It's just a group of awesome apes. The Discord is not something I really like to like just. The Discord is not like a main pillar of like my business or anything like that. That's why I don't really hard pitch it, because like I like that it's small. I like that I actually get to meet the people and talk to the people and hang out with the people. But if you're signing up for the Discord under the notion that it's some sort of like buy signal, sell signal of like, oh, okay, like this is what's going on and I need to copy him. It's not like that. It's a group of people who are doing DD together, who are talking about things, and it's just a real community. It's a real family. It's a real community of people who have similar interests. But it's not some like trading guru class where like, oh, Matt said buy this and sell this. That is not it whatsoever. It's a group of people who are just trying to learn from each other and mostly related to the market, but I would say in various aspects of life. They have good political discussions. They're talking about sporting events. They're talking about the newest games coming out. It's just really an organized, I guess, Discord server for people who identify as apes in various things. BBIG trying to do its thing. I like that. All right, let me throw up BBIG. BBIG, look for this to push 9. Let me know when BBIG is like kind of gearing up for that 9 breakout, because I think it could be an interesting push all the way up to 10. We'll check out IWM really quick. The market's looking strong, and as soon as these push, look at AMC. What did dip by off of 44? We're already at 45. Watch 45.50. This is, if you don't think that AMC and GME almost have like the least connection to like just a normal stock that it possibly could. AMC and GME has become a play that is like 99% psychological and 1% like actually what stocks normally do based on fundamentals, based on technicals and all of that stuff. AMC and GME, this is psychological. This morning, this was a psychological play from yesterday's weakness to this morning's weakness to get people to panic. It's honestly that simple. This was a psychology thing. Same thing with GME. There's even those clips of Ken Griffin at Citadel and Citadel Securities admitting that the market, and they have all these fancy algorithms and stuff to scare people. They fully get that they're in the game of psychology, and they're going to use human psychology against us. Fortunately, like I said, I use that word very specifically. They're using human psychology against us. I don't think that they're up to par on ape psychology really that much. So I don't want them to be successful. I don't think they're going to be successful. But when you see things, ask yourself, okay, is this something that a stock would realistically do? Or does it feel like a psychological chess move? And to me, the movements I see in AMC and GME are much more of like, okay, this is a huge cultural narrative that's playing out on the stock market as almost as if the chart is a scoreboard of sorts. And it has like really the most loose connection to like normal stock stuff than really anything out there. Shout out to Flack, Bean, True Demon, Sauce, Echo, Fizzy, Cleaver, and Discord Avengers. Transparency. Shout out. Jesus Space Goat. I can't not crack up at that name. I am really confused about how to take profits when not selling the whole position. Can you give us a masterclass in the art of backing out of a position to preserve profits? So I think you're referring to scaling out. So like, let's say, for example, like for the ease of math, let's just say you own 4 shares of something. What you could do is at certain percentage gain levels or at certain levels of resistance, you scale out. So like let's say you own 4 shares, maybe there's one resistance, so you sell one there, you get the breakout, next one. I love scaling in and scaling out, and it's actually even better the more your account grows, the bigger your money. You're not going to want to go all in at once and all out at once. I love to scale in and I love to scale out. To scale in, I target various levels of support. To scale out, I target various levels of resistance. Commonly, sometimes I just look for percentage gains, like 1 at 10%, 20%, like something like that. I've employed that tactic before, like just in my normal like swing trades or something along those lines. But overall, scaling in, scaling out, positive. You don't have to buy all at once. You don't have to sell all at once. All right, people are mentioning GREE. Is that moving? Selling. Just cashed out 34,000 IRNT calls. Was so tempted to let them ride, but learning so much from you. Took profit and rolling half into AMC. That is amazing. Seriously, shout out Christopher right there, dumping $17,000 into AMC, buying the dip. What a play. What a play. Seriously, congratulations, Christopher. Super happy for you. All right, TA on IWM and SPY. Right here, I'm looking at the support, looking for it to get basically back above 447 to start this trip back up to 454 on the SPY. IWM might be a fake out breakdown if it can recapture 221, 222 today. But both of these being sold off, the more it gets sold off, the more I think, okay, we're getting to a bottom and more of that U-turn that it could be ripping in the middle of the street. Thoughts on UUUU and UEC, not financial advice. I mean, this is just like CCJ and DNN. We see uranium moving for sure, all of these. But I just question if, like, are we like kind of just chasing too much right now? Remember, all these plays, you want to get into it a bit earlier. People asking about CEI, I'll throw that on the list. I still think that this downward trend is just a huge handle forming, looking 3-month cup, and my prediction will big bounce into next week. Jorge the Ape, I mean, I very much hope you're right with that. Very possible. I mean, we see that AMC loves to do cups and handles, and more importantly than that, it loves to do a cup and handle where it breaks above resistance, hangs out, gets smacked, makes a new higher low, and then officially gets through it afterward. All right, I think we have all these. People are asking about Fuel Cell. John, Fuel Cell had a great day yesterday. FCEL. Hey, Mark, happy birthday. Threw some money into UEC at 250, swinging it back into AMC in a month or so. Thoughts on chart? UEC, did I write that one down? I believe that's another uranium play. A lot of those charts, all starting with the U. Are there dates coming up that might have the hedgies trying extra hard to get apes to sell AMC? The major thing coming up is Quadruple Witching, which is this Friday, and that's just a higher volatility time, and they probably don't want there to be momentum and then the volatility to amplify that momentum to the upside. So this Friday, Quadruple Witching, and what that is, if you don't know about it, basically 4 types of contracts, 2 option contracts, 2 future contracts are expiring this Friday, which means that these big players that are in those contracts need to roll their money to the next contract. So when there's a big flow of money, you have more volatility. It's not associated with being bullish. It's not associated with being bearish. It's just associated with high volatility. Once again, that is this Friday. We just see that flow, and I think they're trying to make sure that they know an increase in volatility is coming. So I'm assuming that they really just don't want the momentum to be in the favor of the apes, because like I said, when it's amplified, that could be very, very detrimental to them. If I buy a stock at $5, buy again at 10, and then buy again at 15, let's say the stock goes up to 20 and I sell a portion, how would I calculate what percentage is tax bought stock at different prices? So the way it's going to be shown to you is just your average price, which would be $10, but it would be different in terms of your taxes, at least in my understanding. Please consult a tax professional. It's going to look at if you own any of them for longer than a year, then you would be taxed differently, at least in certain states within the US. But once again, with that, you're going to have to contact a tax professional. But in terms of your P&L, especially in the short term of what you're seeing, it's just going to average it. So in your example, your average would be at $10. So it's going to say, oh, okay, you sold, like it's going to be your average cost entry and then your average cost exit. If all of them are under a year, it does change if you own some for more than a year. All right. SPY looking hungry at 445. Would love to see this breakout. AMC bouncing off of 43.77. All right. We're marking out some levels. Okay. GME trading at 197.64, AMC trading at 44.67. Like I said, bouncing off of 43.77, so actually up $1 from a bounce. ATER recaptured 11. Shout out to Soapy Gorilla. Whoa, ATER doing its flexing thing. ATER, look for it to battle it out in the mid 12s. I think that's actually a very realistic target as long as it gets above the mid 11s. We saw it dancing around there yesterday. So 1150, then 1250 on ATER. My SPRT calls are now GRE calls and worthless. How is a $20 call worthless when it's trading at 40? That's going to still come to the conversion because remember, yesterday, I don't know when you got your SPRT calls, but yesterday there's a very good chance that they were getting hammered because SPRT fell quite a bit yesterday. So if you do it, I mean, these things are priced to mathematical perfection. It's not like they just converted it at an arbitrary value to screw you over. No, they converted it at the proportion. And I mean, there's a good, like GREE is selling off today. SPRT was selling off yesterday. So I don't know why your calls would have increased. All right, we did that. It doesn't look like people like the Apple release yesterday. No, they didn't. They were not the biggest fans of that release. Someone said ADA looking good right now. It is looking good. ADA, Cardano waking up, and actually Ethereum. Both Ethereum and ADA looking strong. I think this is actually, let me mark this just so we can come back to it in a couple days. I think we're seeing a current strength and potential buying opportunity on these. And also, if Hex can break 40 cents, I think that becomes interesting. Crypto recently getting beaten down, but now kind of flexing its muscle. So I think on Ethereum, Cardano, and Hex, interesting opportunities. Interesting opportunities. Most of our buys are not being reflected right now. Just sent to a dark pool. Gary Gensler asking Congress to create legislation and ended up passing the buck. Very disappointed. That's actually wrong, D's. If you trade on a dark pool, it still is reflected and it still has a material impact on price. LAC running, that is a lithium miner. We've been talking about LAC. There is a big lithium shortage, so just kind of understanding a little bit about that sector, I would be kind of interested and bullish on it. Are you staking or lending your ADA? So some of it I just have, not doing anything with it, and then the other part of it I am lending on. What's the website, like Daedalus, but most of it I just have it right now because I recently bought some more. Actually, I bought it on stream when we were talking about it a couple days ago on the sell-off. I tried to get a fill at 230 and it didn't end up filling me till 250 when everyone was panicking. I viewed it as a dip buying opportunity. Overall on Cardano, I am up, and actually now I'm back to break even. I was going to say I got it at 250. So now back to break even with my most recent purchase on Cardano. But I need to be clear about this. Crypto, to me, I'm not interested in actively trading it in any way. Crypto, the pattern I've seen with crypto is you find a project you like, you find a community you believe in, you get it, and you wait long term. People who become these massive crypto millionaires and maybe even like multiple millions, none of the stories I've seen are people that are like, oh, I actively trade crypto. It's always like, oh, I got into coin X, whatever it is, like a random coin, and they're like, yeah, I got into it a couple years ago. That is the pattern that I see in the world of crypto. It's not people actively trading it. So if I'm looking to recreate the success of some of these very successful crypto people, it all seems to be investments and not active trades. Ryan253 saying AMC. I have heard a little bit about that stock. I think it's interesting. I do think AMC has an interesting community, and I have to admit, I would be bullish on it. Need a rocket or a lime to boost AMC? Bought more on the dip. Let's go. Shout out other Ryan. This is different Ryan. You having any fun with the CNFTs? Lots of fun projects and money to be made. So I own about 8 NFTs, and I do need to become more informed about the industry. Some of them make a lot of sense to me, and then I'm seeing about other ones that are just complete scams. So even with that, there's scams in everything. There's scams in stocks, there's scams in futures, options, and crypto. With all of that, just do your DD. Look into it. Do a little bit of research, and don't take one person's comment or video or write-up as like the end-all be-all truth. I bought a $47 put option limit order yesterday and it hasn't filled. What's going on? Because it's probably trading more above the price than what your option limit was at, I would assume, Omar. I don't know what stock you're specifically talking about, but if you're talking about a put option and something has dropped below it, that means it's increased in value and your bid was probably for under that value, hence you weren't filled. How do you find the support and resistance lines like the yellow lines on AMC? This is a good question. And it's actually, the answer is very simple. I just look at recent spikes, like the relative highs and relative lows. So I saw this was the low. I saw this was the high on the day. So I just drew a horizontal line on it. The software I'm using is called TradingView. You could get a free month trial. It's in the description of the video. But once again, this is called TradingView. And if you want to try it out, it's pretty, like, there's a bit of a learning curve, especially the emoji part of it. That does take a bit of time to learn about all the emojis and what they do or don't do. But beyond that, it's a pretty intuitive piece of software. It is called TradingView. Link in the description. Check out the article Seeking Alpha Virtu CEO. Seeking Alpha. So I know he was speaking again last night, and I actually listened to it on my own time. He, once again, is just supportive of payment for order flow. Shoot, why am I blocked out of this website? Virtu CEO, SEC chair is wrong about payment for order flow. Douglas Sifu, co-founder of CEO of Virtu Financials, remember the duopoly thing, said Tuesday the so-called payment for order flow categorically doesn't harm traders, countering claims made earlier in the day by the before Congress by the SEC, Gary Gensler. Speaking to CNBC, Sifu argued that even brokers who accept payment for order flow as a revenue source, Robinhood being a famous example, still route their orders based on execution quality and price performance. No, because that's what payment for order flow is. You have an agreement to specifically go to the market maker. I think what the chair is conflating is issues around order routing and price improvement, which are separate from apart from payment for order flow. Maybe it's separate from price improvement, but not routing. Payment for order flow means you are always taking the exact same route to that market maker who's paying for it. Gensler, chairman of the U.S. SEC, stressed the need for regulating payment for order flow during the congressional testimony Tuesday. All right. Sifu, whose firm is one of the biggest players in the market for payment for order flow, acknowledged that there was an inherent conflict with order routing and price improvement. So he acknowledged right there, he acknowledged that there's an inherent conflict. However, he said that the friction has nothing to do with payment for order flow and that the SEC has spent decades dealing with the tension involved in these aspects of trading. The Virtu Financial CEO pointed the data showing an $11 billion worth of price improvement in 2020, which he paired with the ability for companies like Hood to provide zero commission trading as signs that inherent process brings value to investors. Imagine how much better it would have been without payment for order flow. And we know because of things such as public trading brokerage, that you can still have commission-free trading without payment for order flow. Actually, I kind of want to find this. Douglas Sifu. We should listen to this CNBC thing. How do I find it? This was all from 7 days ago. This was on CNBC, right? This argument of being supportive for payment for order flow is one of the most intellectually dishonest arguments currently occurring on Wall Street. Like I said in my update video yesterday, the only people who are supportive of it it's three categories. There are three categories of people who are going to be supportive of payment for order flow. First of all of them are probably profiting off of it. But the three categories go this way. It's people who, Citadel Securities, Virtu, people in that world where they're actively engaging in it and it's part of their business model and it's how they make money. The other people who are going to argue for it in support of it are going to be your politicians who are in the pockets of said market makers. The third category of people who will argue in support of payment for order flow are some of our absolute favorite mainstream media commentators that unfortunately have a single digit IQ level. Those are the three people, the people directly profiting off of it, as in the market makers themselves, the politicians in their pockets, and basically mainstream media personalities who, when they speak, I actually feel myself getting dumber. Those are the three people who will support payment for order flow. But let me see if I can actually find the comment. I wish they would link the CNBC article. I'll have to track that down. CNBC. Douglas, what's his name? CIFU. Where it's not even coming up on CNBC's website. I wish I could re-show you this clip. I watched it yesterday. Video 9:14. Oh, sweet. I found it. All right. Let's check this out. This is related to payment for order flow. This is Douglas Sifu. What? It says it can't be played.
SEC.
All right, here. Check this out.
SEC Chair Gary Gensler testifying in front of the Senate Banking Committee earlier today. He weighed in on the growing debate over payment for order flow and its potential impact on competition in the marketplace.
I think the challenge is if a party is buying all the order flow or bulk of the order flow, then the order by order competition doesn't exist. So the retail public doesn't benefit from that competition. That, like when I was growing up, you had competition. It wasn't modern technology, but it was competition on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and brokers could scream and yell at each other about what they were going to pay. Now, if one party is buying literally half the retail flow in America, these market orders, that could actually have diminished competition in the marketplace.
Joining us now in a Closing Bell exclusive, Virtu Financial CEO Doug Sifu, along with CNBC's Bob Pisani. Bob, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks very much. And Doug, thanks very much for joining us. You heard Chairman Gensler there. He basically came out and said investors may not be getting the best execution, even if there is price improvement. He spent about a third of the time talking about payment for order flow. Are investors getting bad execution, and are investors really being harmed by payment for order flow?
No, thanks very much for having me on, Bob. And I think the data is very compelling that categorically they are not. I think what the chair is conflating are the issues around order routing and price improvement, which are separate and apart from payment for order flow. 95% of the brokers, wealth managers in this country, do not take payment for order flow. They still route to wholesalers and to market centers based on execution quality, a price performance, and a guarantee of execution. The brokers that do take payment for order flow still are routing solely based on price improvement and execution quality. So he's conflating the issue of payment for order flow and the inherent conflict, which has been addressed and dealt with for the last 30 years by the SEC, with order routing and price improvement. Two separate issues, and the data around price improvement is so overwhelmingly compelling. $11 billion of price improvement in 2020, $11 billion and zero commission trading in this country. Game, set, match.
Gensler has another problem. He seems to have a beef with you and with Citadel. You two, of course, are the largest players in the wholesale market, the market for payment for order flow. He said there's excessive concentration of market players. That means you two. That could diminish competition in the marketplace. Should you have more competition? And by the way, why isn't there more competition? That seems to be what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, factually, that's just not correct. I mean, sure, Citadel is number one, we're number two, but there's another 6 or 7 or 8 players, and every day they're nipping at our heels for more market share. Just within the last 6 months, 3 fantastic firms, Hudson River Trading, Jump Trading, Jane Street, they've all entered the marketplace. These are not undercapitalized, non-sophisticated groups. And so there are barriers to entry, but a lot of folks are coming in, right? So the narrative, again, that somehow Citadel is dominating the market is just factually inaccurate. I know people like them as a piñata to hit at, but it's just not correct. We are competing every single day with Citadel and the 6 or 7 or 8 other wholesalers. UBS is included in that. Right, I didn't hear their name today. Right, so it's a very competitive marketplace. The exchanges are also competing for that order flow. The brokers have the freedom of choice of routing, right? That's the fundamental beauty of our system. Whether they want to route to an exchange or off exchange to a wholesaler or to an ATS, that's solely the decision of the broker. And it's not informed by payment for order flow. That narrative is just incorrect. The data and the facts are compelling.
Why is payment for order flow not allowed in other jurisdictions like Europe and the UK?
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example is Canada, right? So the chairman talks about payment for order flow being not permitted in Canada. But in Canada, the retail brokers are the banks, and they also have a price broker time system on their exchanges. So they're effectively, the retail broker is just routing to the market maker. Talk about a conflict. And when they don't want to route to the market maker, Wilf, they simply just route to what's called an inverted exchange, and they receive a rebate from the exchange. So it's payment for order flow just by another name. It's the same thing in every other country. So when you dig through the facts, right, and don't just go for the headlines and the narratives and really understand the market structure, right, our system here, where we allow open competition, where we have full transparency and disclosure around order routing and price improvement, and we permit price improvement, the retail investors in this country have the best deal in the world.
Doug, it's Sarah. I wanted to ask you about another issue in Gensler's crosshairs, which is crypto, because I don't know if you saw the news, but Steve Cohen, formerly SAC, owns the Mets, is invested in this new platform that is...
All right. Couple things to say here. Couple important things to say here, in fact. Here is the dealio. I took a couple notes of what I want to talk about. So a little bit, and this is maybe just a minute point, but he was saying that, like, as if there's this insane competition between all these market makers. There isn't. In fact, the truth is Citadel controls roughly about 50% of market making. And then Virtu comes in at number 2, about another 25 to 30%. So if you put those together, let's just say it's about 75, 80% of market making and this wholesale, like the retail wholesaling. So for him to be like, oh, there's like 6 to 8 others. Yeah, there's 6 to 8 others who are vying for the 20%. The extra 20%. So for him to act like there's this crazy amount of competition and everything is like, oh no, like it's highly competitive within the world of market making, it's just not true. I am so sick and tired of people sitting there all smug and they know what they're saying is intellectually dishonest. We know that. He is saying, oh, no, look at Jane Street, UBS. I don't hear anyone talking about them. Yeah, because that's 6 to 8 people, market-making firms who are sharing 20% of what's going on. Citadel controls about 50, Virtu is about 25 to 30. I am so sick and tired of people having these one-off sentences. That is bullshit. And honest, I see it across the board. I see it from people like this Doug guy from Virtu. I see it from people like mainstream media. I see it from people within the community. So many people either don't know what they're talking about or they know what they're talking about. And this is honestly more malicious and they spin it in a way when they know they're being dishonest. It pisses me off to absolutely no end. So that's a little just a side point there. But let me talk about what's going on. This is the argument that I think people need to understand a bit better of why payment for order flow, why this has become a discussion. So what happened years and years ago is it was tough to be a retail trader. I mean, if you go back decades, there weren't people who were really retail traders at all because like you had to have a broker. You would call them up and be like, buy me Microsoft. And they're like, okay. And like it took a while. But as technology improved, it became easier and easier to become a retail trader because like all of a sudden you didn't have to have that special connection to a broker who's going to manage your money and you're like, buy this, sell this. Technology has helped us out a lot. But here's what the rise of technology and being a retail trader has done is people such as Robinhood, and honestly, as much as we shit on Robinhood, they deserve a little bit of respect in the sense that they brought millions of more people into the market who beforehand would have never been involved in the market whatsoever. They really wouldn't have. And the reason they could do this is they had the marketing of, hey, trade for us and it's going to be free. I mean, in my own trading career, and I haven't really been trading for that long, I remember where I still had to pay a commission per trade. In fact, when I do my futures trading on TradeStation, I still have to pay a commission per trade, just so everyone knows. We're not that far removed from a point where you had to pay for every single trade, but that was a great marketing tactic. It's like, hey, get involved in the market and buy what you want. And even if you have a little bit of money, it's great because we're not going to kill you with commissions. And the way they could pull that off is because of payment for order flow. Instead of charging, that was their business model. Other people have the business model of like, hey, we'll facilitate your trade, but you give us like a payment, a commission payment. And with this, they're like, hey, well, even if you have $5, you can get invested and you don't have to care about like a $5 commission because at a certain point, you had to have a certain basis of money to make commission trading even worth it. But now with Robinhood, they're like, hey, even if you have $5, you don't have to pay for trades at all. Just come trade with us. And the way they were able to pull that off is because of payment for order flow. For those of you who don't know, payment for order flow is an agreement between a broker and a wholesale retailer, a retail wholesaler, I should say, a market maker, an internalizer, whatever you want to call it. But basically it's saying, hey, you're going to send all of your trades to us. You're not going to a dark pool. You're not going to a lit exchange. You are coming directly to us. All the orders get sent to us and we will take the other side of it. If someone is buying, we will sell it to them. If someone is selling, we will buy it off of them. That's what payment for order flow is. It's an agreement between a broker and a market maker that the broker sends all of the orders right to that market maker and nowhere else. So at first, okay, great. Now you have these people who are joining into the market and it's commission-free trading and they like it. You have a lot of new retail traders and I think that's a positive thing. But as it got more and more, what happened was you ended up segmenting the entire retail trading public. The entire retail trading public was happening with these internalizers, basically Citadel Securities and Virtu, and you no longer had retail competing on lit exchanges. And honestly, well, you never really had retail trading on dark pools, but they weren't doing it there anyway. A high, and I'm talking a massive majority of retail trading was all being facilitated by market makers and not elsewhere. What does this do to market structure? When you have successfully segmented the entire retail trading public, that means that these lit exchanges, all that you have left are highly competitive players, such as hedge funds, such as big banks, such as pension funds, such as ETFs. And the market maker who is still making the market on these lit exchanges, when you have a subsect that retails somewhere else, when on lit exchanges, when you only have high competition, highly informed traders, the only way the market makers can make the market for them is by widening the spread. That means the difference between the bid and the ask, the bid being the highest buyer, the ask being the lowest seller, it gets wider and wider, and that is spreading the NBBO, the national best bid and the national best offer. This is how it's all played out. Because retail segmented, only highly competitive players left on the lit exchanges, it spreads it. And that's because the market makers, for them to still make money, they're competing against legitimate sharks within the game. So for them to still make money, for them to not really take on too much risk, they have to spread the bid and the ask. The spread is getting wider. According to Dave Lauer, some studies have shown that because of payment for order flow and retail all living in their own la-la land, that has actually widened the spread on all these exchanges by about 20 to 25%. And in effect, that means that pension funds, ETFs, all these things, retirement accounts, when they're doing their trades, I mean, some people estimate that to be the loss of billions and billions of dollars because they're not getting as good of execution as they can. But here's where it gets dishonest from an intellectual standpoint. Us understanding that of like, okay, I see how it played out. Technology, retail, they get segmented. For the market makers to still make the market on the lit exchange, they have to widen it because they don't want to lose money. Well, here's where it gets weird is the argument in support of payment for order flow, it's all compared. It's all on a relative basis to that MBBO. So previously you had the MBBO, and then with this payment for order flow and retail getting segmented, you widened it. And this is the measurement. This is how they measure of like, oh, we did price improvement because we beat the NBBO. But the people who are beating the NBBO are the exact people who made the NBBO so bad. They're the ones who widened the spread. That's why the argument is intellectually dishonest, because their measurement of like, hey, well, we're slightly better. Instead of this spread, we give them this execution. But really, without them, if all competition was fair on lit exchanges, the spread would be so much closer anyway. So their improvement of whatever that metric was, of something of like, oh, we've offered price improvement of, what was it, $11 billion. That price improvement is on the relative basis of the situation that they messed up anyway. So with it, like, that's the measurement. And honestly, even Gary Gensler knows that. That's why in his testimony yesterday, he said it was an antiquated measuring rod, and he was referring to the spread of the MBBO, which has been ruined by 20 to 25% because of these market makers. That's kind of, and there is a lot more to dive into with this argument. Like, you can really get into the specifics of stock market plumbing, and I am in no way a stock market plumbing expert. I'm doing my best to learn about it, but this information is coming from people who you can truly trust. A lot of my information is coming from people that I've talked to that work at exchanges, and people such as Dave Lauer, who worked at Citadel and have left, who have worked with the SEC, have worked with the Senate, who has worked with Congress to discuss what is going on in this world. So this is not me just getting some bullshit off of YouTube or Twitter or Reddit. This is talking from people who truly have expertise within the sector. And honestly, for them, that's why they get frustrated, because they have such a knowledge related to this situation. And then they see these little mainstream media clips of like, hang on, we have this slight improvement, when really it takes a multi-hour debate to lay out all of the truths of the story. But I hope my quick little spiel here relating to this guy Doug at Virtu, and I've kind of noticed that Ken Griffin Kenny Boy has been quiet because I don't think he really wants like the public attention, especially because he knows that like our community specifically hates him. But on it's so frustrating because even at this, me being somewhat new to this world of stock market plumbing and what is and isn't happening, they're just lying. They are lying because it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. There's a reason why both Virtu and Citadel are multi-billion-dollar companies making a shitload of money, and they're making it off of the retail trading's back. That's how they do it. They're all these trades. They love these widened spreads. It makes them easier to facilitate what they need to. And then you have players like Robinhood. Why am I not on Robinhood? Do I get that other brokerages stopped the trading of AMC and GME back in January? Yes, I get that. I get that fully. But do you know what else Robinhood has done? Beyond the fact that they said they were doing it for our own good, which is like complete bullshit. This is from Gary Gensler himself. Gary Gensler reported in his testimony previously, I think it was in May, that Robinhood explicitly went out of its way to try to make a deal where it got more payment for order flow from Citadel in return for worse execution. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like the mythological story of Robinhood. That sounds very much like they were trying to line their own pockets to the detriment of their own client base. Why am I so outspokenly bearish on Robinhood specifically when I know not all brokerages are good brokerages? But why that one? Because of their name, because of what they stand for. At a certain point, do I respect them for bringing more retail traders into the world? Yes, but you don't just stick around with the first one who pulled something off. I think the analogy I've used previously is the Wright brothers didn't just stop at their first airplane. They didn't say, okay, cool, we got something to fly, we're done here. Robinhood, it deserves a little bit of respect for what it did. It was a innovative idea at the time, but now, like many things, we've thought of better ideas. We've improved the technology, we've improved the business model, and now it has not developed with the market, with technology, and now, in my humble opinion, it's running a shitty company. It really is. If you look at the past 2 quarters, all of its money has come from either payment for order flow on stocks, options, or really crypto trading on Dogecoin. They are not good for their clients. All they care about is their bottom line, and they don't have a strong business model, especially when those things are going to get ripped away from it. And FINRA is so far up Vlad's ass. Like, it's to me, Robinhood is a ticking time bomb, and I don't want to be around when that bomb goes off. But overall, I hope that, especially for maybe some of the newer apes in the community who are like, okay, I hear this argument, but like, what's truly happening and why should I care about it? I hope that this little spiel gives you a little bit more information on payment for order flow, market makers, and really how it connects to brokerages, and really, at the most important part, how it connects to us as the retail trading public. Can you or someone from your team bring someone from either Citadel or Virtu on your channel to discuss this in person? I highly doubt that they would accept it. I mean, I could give an offer if I did it. I don't know if I would do that live because, like, I don't know. Like, at a certain point, like, we still have to, like, respect people. We can't just, like, I see a lot of the things in this community of people taking it like too far. Like, I see people's like getting threatened. Do I like these people who, like, I mean, I make fun of these people, but like I've seen threats against people's family and that stuff, and it's just too far. Remember, there are many people watching us. What you do, if you're associated with this community, whether good or bad, you are you represent this community. Your tweets are seen, all this. And remember, with so many other people watching us, it's very, very important for when they go low for us to go high. My hesitation with bringing someone on like that, I want to.
Welcome to the
because
Gang, brother.
I think it would be very, very good information, but I do hesitate about the response because this community, a lot of people act as if there aren't people watching us. And when we do something like that, we have to make sure we're almost really on our best behavior because we don't want the media to start twisting the community's movement and start saying basically like, look at all these jerk offs. Like, why would we, like, we need as many people on our side as we can get. And sometimes our behavior doesn't really, it's not the best representation. So I need to think of a way to do it where like some people are not like popping off and saying and doing things that they shouldn't be doing that like really does make the community look bad. An intellectual conversation to help clarity to the intellectual and also bring up the wide and spread. It would be extremely beneficial, educational, enlightening. Yeah, so I, and when I have more information about this, I guess I got this officially confirmed yesterday, but when I get the dates and all the times and everything, I'm actually going to be doing a podcast with Dave Lauer at an exchange. So the exchange will be hosting the conversation, and there's going to be other people on the panel, but basically I'm there to speak of the psychology and the methodology of the apes, and Dave Lauer will be there to have basically a conversation about payment for order flow with some of the big wig people. Like, this is going to be a pretty exciting and awesome conversation. So Dave's going to be on the panel. I'll be on the panel. When the dates, it's going to be in October, just so everyone knows. When I have the exact date and the exact time, I will let you know. But this is bleeding over from the world of just us getting information to Dave to like we're attempting to elevate this entire conversation to the next level and speaking to people who are truly involved in the world of Wall Street. I'm very, very excited for this talk. I honestly feel like I need to study up quite a bit myself, but be on the lookout for that in October. And as I get the information, I will give you all the info. I will definitely be giving you all the info. Can you or someone from your team? All right. Matt's ran stocks go burr. Hey folks, I do what I can. If I just need to scream all day, I will. All right. AMC pushing 46. I like that. I like that a lot. SPY, I mean, these are looking bullish. We're seeing some green on the day. I like this. FTDs are out. All right, so they are out up until August 31st, and as of August 31st, the FTD on AMC, not that much. Really, we shouldn't be seeing any of these, but it did come in at 150,000. And the reason I'm saying it's not that much is just like relative to June, we have these massive spikes. So we really shouldn't be seeing any, but compared to how it was, it does look like these FTDs were calmed down and tapered down quite a bit. In terms of GME, where was it? Right here. We have about the most recent one as of August, I guess, 13th was only 1,000. So actually on a relative basis and a magnitude basis, quite a bit lower. All right, but we are fighting back right here on AMC. We're fighting back on everything. GME above 200, I like that. AMC looks like it's basically making a run to 46 and then 46.60. I would not be surprised if we go green on the day. I mean, GME's already green on the day. It's up by 1%. AMC's fighting back. And this was what I was saying this morning. Like rewind the stream to like when this was looking very bad back here. I was mentioning the one thing I've learned about this is that it's a psychological attack, and the people who withstand the brute force of these fights, like the people who diamond hand it and they buy on the dips, they end up getting paid off. And this one paid off very, very early. Anyone who got around 44 are already up $2 a share, actually more than that. People are fighting back. The apes are fighting back. Okay, So AMC currently trading at 46. We have about $1.30 to go, so that puts us at 47.30 for that red green move. Definitely possible. Remember, it's only 10:30. Folks, we're just an hour into the market. There's a lot of time for things to play out today. S&P 500, I'm looking for it to get above 445. Well, let's just call it 25, but right about here, we did have this triple top and almost like a flipped cup and handle where we have the handle, then the cup scenario. Kind of strange, but GME, AMC looking strong right about now. All right, sorry, I think I'm way behind on these chats now because I was ranting too much. Do you think people associate SpaceX with Tesla? If yes, will a successful launch today be a catalyst, sell the news event for Tesla? I think, Dom, I do think they do it a little bit, but maybe not to have like a huge impact on the stock. But I think in general, people view it as like when Elon has this success, that he has kind of his success like across all of his business lines in a weird way. I'm not saying that it's necessarily right, but I do think that that happens. Hey, Matt, longtime listener, first-time chatter. What are your thoughts on BAT Crypto and Brave Browser? So I do like Brave Browser, but I don't know much about BAT specifically. Can we maybe work together as a chat to figure out how SPRT options does mathematically plays out? So actually with the play out of it, there's already websites that do it. Check out like optioncalculator.com or just Google that and there's various websites. Love your great work. Any thoughts on Iron Source over the next couple of years? New stock made from SPAC. No special thoughts right now, Golan, on Iron Source. I just want the chart to develop more. And like, if you're talking about a couple of years, I would need to look at like what the company is or isn't doing and better understand how the company is positioned. So I have like no crazy special thoughts about like its performance over the next couple of years. Good morning, Matt, and my fellow diamond-handed ape, still holding 70K shares of AMC. Wow. Quick question, Matt. Do you think AMC is gap filling to the 7th? Keep doing what you are doing. Eventually, it will gap fill to there, if I had to guess. Where is you're saying the 7th? I'm looking for, I don't see any gaps right now in AMC's chart from the 7th. What was this low? 44.88. Oh, so we do have this 8 cent. Okay, we do have an 8 cent gap right here. Yeah, eventually that probably will get filled. It might happen today. It might have already actually happened today. What was this? The high was 44.80. Yeah, so we gap filled. So that's actually nice that we took care of that gap fill, and since then we've been moving upward. Name me any other business where a company pays to do more work. It's counterintuitive. A plumber is not going to pay to clean your toilet. Did someone say corruption, Virtu and Citadel's corruption will be doxed? Trust no one. What do you think about IPOs? I avoid them all. The only one I'm interested in on the horizon is Starlink. Why was that clown saying daddy doesn't understand the current market structure? He's the SEC chair. He's a dad. He understands plumbing. Microsoft share buyback of up 60 billion. That's generally pretty good for the stock. I'm definitely long-term bullish on Microsoft. Did you see AMC Bigham's reaching out on Twitter to educate on your platform about public use ATSs? I have not, no. Ape Mama becoming a space ape. Shout out Ape Mama. I took my AMC out of Robinhood in March. Still have 40K Doge. I don't want to sell because I get a really low price. I'm worried RH will go bankrupt. Will I lose my Doge if that happens? You could, especially because you don't actually own Doge. But for you, because of your price, well, what's the difference? What if you sell... you just take that block of money that you're in profit and you just invest that into Doge on a legitimate crypto platform? There might be some tax implications to you, but there's definitely no like P&L implications. That was an awesome cup and rantle. Griddle ants. That's hilarious. Maybe turn members only on chat during the interview. Less hooligans. Yeah, that's one option. Where else am I at? Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on all these messages. My lord, SPRT delisted from Hood and Webull. I mean, it got delisted from the entire market because it was merged with GREE. Sold out of my SPRT for the end of week for $20 strike. What happens? Will the contract expire worthless, returning my capital and keeping my premium sold? Sold a put on SPRT. No, Mickey, that will get converted to the proportionate rate in GREE. Wall Street Vikings, second half of August, BBIG has 560, 170 FTDs total. Fed is meeting next week, right? Will they be discussing maybe a VIX play? They're meeting this week, I think, in a couple days, or like tomorrow. They're meeting this week, I believe. I have some position in SPRT. Do you know why Webull is not allowing GREEB to be traded? This is the weirdest scenario I've experienced. I guess it's taking some time for everything for them to get updated. I don't know. I don't work at Webull. I haven't really been using Webull lately. So I can't comment, but it's going to get converted over to GREE. Looks like AMC gap filled the 9.7. There's another gap 8.30 that hasn't been filled. PDT, any chance you can make an issue in your October discussion? Apes might be able to get the SEC to repeal or amend it. I can only answer the questions I'm asked. If I'm asked about PDD, I will comment on it. But with these, it's not, when I go on to these things and do these interviews, it's not like I'm saying, ask me this question, ask me this question, ask me this question. They reach out to me and say, hey, we want to talk about this. Are you interested? I say yes or no. If I'm asked about it, more than happy to discuss it. What platform do you use lately? I use Public. And it's just because of exactly what we're talking about. I have such a disdain for public payment for order flow. And I think Public is the easiest one to use it. Some people will say Fidelity, but I don't like that, because if you're just simply on Fidelity, inherently, most of their orders still get sent to Citadel. Most of theirs do. Fidelity, it is commission free, but you have to actively go out of your way to send it, to route it to the proper exchange. While with Public, inherently, all of their orders are sent to a lit exchange already. So it's by far the easiest way to avoid market makers and payment for order flow. Public charts are trash. If you don't like the charts, I mean, I don't use Public charts. It's a phone app. I'm using TradingView, or if you want to chart on Webull, have at it. I mean, Webull does have good charting. I'm just not going to execute my trades there. What do you think about Shiba Inu as a longer term hold investment? Do you think it has potential? I think Doge has more potential. Is the MACD crossing on the day chart a good thing? It depends what way the cross. You want it to cross upward, that's a good thing. Downward is not a good thing. Wanted to say thanks for all you do to that. Not sure if people realize just how much work you really do, including weekends, holidays, etc. All love, bro. Brian, I really appreciate that. And the reason I do it, the reason why, I don't know, maybe it's wrong, but I think just if you look at my catalog, the reason I put in all these hours and probably some of the most work in total man hours to AMC and GME is just because to me, and maybe I'm wrong, I think it's an important fight. I think it is very, very important for people to learn about what's going on. I think it's important for people to develop the skill set so they can be better off financially. And I think it's important that we don't stop to make good change for ourselves and also for future generations. Maybe I'm naively optimistic. Maybe it's a function of my age. Maybe I don't understand how the world works. But what I do understand is that if you see something you truly at your core perceived to be wrong and detrimental to the world around you, I think it's a bit cowardly to not fight against it. Like I said, I don't know if my fight is going to be successful, but I can tell you, me putting in 12 to 14 hour days, 7 days a week, you don't do that for just simply a paycheck. I do this because I care about it. Like, I have a passion for it. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be successful. We'll let history dictate that when we're on the backside of it. Maybe I don't understand certain things, but like I said, for what I perceive to be reality right now, if I see something that I perceive to be so egregiously bad for the world around me, like I said, I'm going to fight to make it a difference. You think Apple will bounce back with the iPhone 13 release? No, the iPhone 13 release, I would say, is what is driving it down. It was kind of underwhelming. But I'm still bullish on Apple. Apple is one of the easiest stocks to just buy and forget about. Truly. It really is. Like, you just get it and you're like, okay, sick. And you buy it a special. Like, I think actually when you sign up for public, Apple is one of your options to get the free stock, which could be up to $70. Oh, shoot. I don't think this is pinned to the top of chat. Today I have Unusual Whales pinned to the top of chat. But public, if you just go to public.com/Matt Kohrs, it's also in the description of the video. It's super easy to just get Apple and just sit there. Like, you just sit and do nothing. Should I transfer my AMC from Robinhood or just start buying new shares on public? Worried if Robinhood will prevent me from selling during the squeeze. So they've actually never prevented anyone from selling. So I wouldn't worry about that. And I honestly don't even think you necessarily have to transfer, but your future buys, I think, should be done on public and not on Robinhood, not on Webull. What makes AMC different from GME? What makes them different from BB, SPRT, and other meme stocks? Can Zeev squeeze? Okay, so what makes AMC different from GME? So AMC and GME are in their own league together, but they are still different. They're in a different business sector. They have a different short interest. They have a different outstanding share. They have a different free float. They have a slightly different community. There is an overlap, but there is, I would say, still a psychological distinction of the people who support the two, with a decent overlap. But like I said, they're in their own league, and all these other ones, BB, SPRT, those are completely different. Comparing those to AMC and GME is just wrong. Those other ones, the huge difference is they just don't have the community support. There are legitimately millions of people who are invested in the symbolic fight that AMC and GME represent, and nothing else represents the symbolic movement that AMC and GME do. That's probably the biggest thing that's setting them apart. BB, SPRT, ATR, ZEV, those all might just be good trades. I'm not against them. Like, I think there's money to be made on them. I'm just saying, don't think that there's somehow the symbolic fight of like market fairness. I know statistically gaps fill, but do you know why? Is it due to low volume, off hours means less support resistance? No, it's actually more of the market loves to evaluate areas of supply and demand that have been untested. They like to see if buyers and sellers were there, and like that's why you end up seeing these gaps getting filled. There might be some sort of fancy stock market plumbing, like statistical explanation for it, but more of the argument, like the narrative, is just like the market and market makers like to evaluate untested areas. All right, we did that. Matt, thanks for everything you do. Been an ape since the $8 fight. It's my B-day today. I want to get myself some merch. Do you have a discount code? I don't think there's one up now, Joshua, but Joshua, because it is your birthday, we can hook you up, especially as like just a birthday present. Feel free to DM Moon Gang merch and send them your name here. I'll actually get your name down just so I know who it is. I hope your Twitter name is close to your actual name, because that's how we'll identify you. How does RSI cool off if the stock keeps trending upward? I'm not selling. It turns off the AC. The RSI cools off. So you have to look at how RSI is calculated, and an RSI is looking at the direction and the magnitude of the most recent X bars, and you can change that value of X. So all of a sudden, you could trend up with the RSI going lower, but you'd have to see smaller and smaller bars. And what's better is actually some sideways chop or maybe a little bit of a decline, and that's really how RSI cools off. But that all comes back to how is RSI calculated. And if you want to learn that, just search Matt Kohrs RSI, and I have a video explaining all of the math behind the RSI indicator, that is. SPRT shows the FTDs for last half of August, total of 10 million. That was more than free flow. I don't know how this is transfers. Crazy though. Any Wall Street Viking, remember when it comes, you never ever total FTDs. FTDs, like the way you wouldn't total the closing price on AMC every day of like 40 plus 40 plus 50 plus 40 plus 40. You don't do that. You look at the current total. It's you don't add them together. Like it's not a cumulative thing. You just look at what the running total is, not the cumulative total. Matt, thank you for being the loudspeaker into Greg's ear that we all need. We don't have the time to scream at Greg, so thank you so much for your service. Shout out some random. For Chase Chesshair to do a dance. Good morning, Duck Boy. Oh, wait. This channel is about socks. Shout out Dave. My girlfriend is mad because instead of buying diapers for my 2 kids, I buy AMC instead. Now my kids just throw them around like animals pooping on the floor. I don't know about that. I feel like you should still be buying some diapers. Ray Gay Dude, shout out. Should I transfer my... All right, we talked about that. Tell my brother INDP is a bad play therapeutic. I don't know if it's necessary bad play, but it's just something I wouldn't trade. It was selling off, and then it was probably a gap up run on some news. I mean, the previous times it's done this, it sells off. It gaps up, sells off, gaps up, sells off, gaps up, sells off, gaps up, sells off. I don't know why this one would be any different. You see this pattern a lot in the biopharma, biotech, medical supplies, health sector. A gap up and a sell off. If you're in it, it might be a fun day trade where you make some money and you get in and you get out. But this isn't something that like I would expect it all of a sudden to break trend. I mean, look at this stock. It sucks. All it's done is actually sell off. I don't know why all of a sudden today would be like the pivot point for it to do something better. I know this year's volume was crazy, so I had them so you weren't reading the numbers for 20 minutes. Shout out Wall Street Viking. I'm looking to get into some more obscure coins. Do you think that KuCoin is a good exchange for that? Yeah. I mean, KuCoin, I think they did get recently hacked, so maybe some of the news you might read on it like more recently could be dangerous, I suppose, but KuCoin's good. I think Coinbase is okay. Gemini's good. I like Voyager just because right now they have one of the best sign up like kickbacks. A lot of these other ones, when you sign up, you get $10 a Bitcoin. Voyager, you get $25 a Bitcoin. Whenever you trade 100, and here, if you're talking about like random coins, I mean, this has quite an extensive list of coins it offers. Just very quickly, so you know. Voyager's above my head right now. You download the app, you put in that code MAT21, and you're going to get an extra $25 of Bitcoin as soon as you trade $100 of any crypto. And Public is also, like, just so you know, both of these are for US residents. You have to be in the US, and they're apps you download. They're not web apps, they're phone apps, just so everyone knows. But KuCoin is good. I mean, I have a KuCoin account. I don't really use it. Same thing with Kraken. I'm on Coinbase. I'm on Gemini. I'm on BlockFi. I'm on Voyager. A lot of them, the reason I have so many different accounts is so I can learn about them myself, but also some of them offer coin that the other ones don't. And if I want that coin, I have to be on that brokerage and or exchange to get that coin. I just bought 10 contracts for 10K. Thanks for teaching me options, Matt. Shout out. Congrats. What do you think about Merrill Lynch? I don't know much about them, so I can't say anything positive or negative because I have not used Merrill Lynch myself. But if your goal is to trade without payment for order flow, the two most common ones, I would say the easiest one is Public, but a common one right now is still Fidelity. All right, where are we at? Let me go to this. Let's zoom in for a hot sec. AMC making that push to its intraday high. It looks like it's going to touch it somewhat soon. We're talking about 46.60, currently trading at 46.12. AMC $1.20 away from going green on the day. GME is green on the day, trading above 200. Love GME above 200. I'm scared AMC will squeeze while I'm transferring from Robinhood to public. Why? But I worry Robinhood won't let me sell during the squeeze. Is this a rational concern? No. No brokerage has ever stopped the selling of these stocks. So if your concern is not being selling or about selling, I would say it's easiest. Why don't you just keep your stock there if you're worried about the transfer window? But I don't think you have to worry about it. Like if you're saying, like if you start your transfer like today, it's going to hit by the end of this week or the start of next week, and I think you're going to be good. So for anyone, like, and obviously there's risks to that. The squeeze could be for tomorrow, but just see what's going on. I think we need to spend some time building up momentum, and I think we're going to have to really battle it out in the low 60s for a bit. So if you start your transfer today, I truly think you're going to be fine. But with that being said, if you are concerned about that, and that is a legitimate concern, don't transfer. Just do your future buys on a different brokerage and leave your original ones on the original brokerage. And like I said, they have never actually stopped people from selling, only buying. People are talking about Crypto Island. I see more people talking about Crypto Island. Actually, I see it's your account, Crypto Bull Doge. It might be good. I just don't know much about it. The crypto I've been learning about the most recently is, so I spent about the past 2 weeks studying up on Ethereum and Cardano, and most recently I've been learning more about Hex and learning more about Solana. I'm just trying to expand my own knowledge to understand what they're all about. So I feel a lot more comfortable with ETH, Cardano. The more I learned about it, the more happy I was with my investment. And right now I'm diving into learning about Hex and learning about Solana. In fact, just this morning, I learned that Hex is a whole new consensus model. You've probably heard of proof of stake, proof of work, proof of history. That's Solana. Hex is proof of weight. So that blew my mind. A whole new one to learn about this morning. Proof of weight. Kind of interesting. I can't see SPRT. Well, that makes sense because it got transferred into GREE this morning. What about crypto.com? Is that good for crypto? To my understanding, yes. Crystal. And actually, now that you say that, I would recommend holding off. I'm actually talking with crypto.com and I'm trying to negotiate a better sign-up bonus for all of you. So if you just want to wait on that for a second, I'm hoping to get some development from them. That's one of the fun things about, I guess, like having a following, it sounds so cringe to say that, is that I could argue to get better deals for you. So for example, the Butcher Box discounts, the Manscaped discounts, the sign up bonus with Public, all of that stuff. The Voyager sign up. As soon as you have a little bit of a size, I could say, hey, like you reach out to them and I'm like, hey, I will be willing to explain what your service is to my audience, but you have to give them a better deal than normal. And I'm currently in that discussion with crypto.com. Hex is not on Voyager. Hex, you have to, I swapped it on MetaMask. So I sent Ethereum from Coinbase to MetaMask. And then on MetaMask, I swapped it, and then I staked it on Hex.stake. I have not heard of proof of authority, but that sounds an interesting one. I mean, there's so many consensus models. Alex, do I still like 145? I do, but if it goes, the farther it goes, the stronger the buy it is on Apple. Apple is just, in my opinion, a great long-term hold. If I get it on any nice percentage discount, I'll buy more. Do you think the shorts are united and communicate and coordinate, or do you think they're their own escape plans to be the first out? I would say a little bit of both. I think it's one of those things that they might coordinate now, and as soon as it starts making a movement, whether up or down, their communication will kind of break down and they're going to worry about exclusively themselves. VeChain is proof of authority. Interesting. I own VeChain. Obviously, need to learn more about that. The one that I've been trying to learn about is Hex. And the reason I'm trying to learn about it is because I want to be able to better speak about if it's a scam or not. I own Hex and I've made a lot of money on Hex, but just because you make money on something doesn't mean it's not a scam. I don't necessarily see how it's a scam as of now. So very few people know about Hex, but the people who do know about it, half the people say it's a scam. The other half say it's not a scam. And here's what Hex is. Previously at banks, you would have a certificate of deposit, a CD. Basically, you give them the money, and them having it, you build up interest, and you get the CD years later. That's what Hex is. Hex has taken CDs, but put it on the blockchain. So basically, you put your Hex up, you stake it for X amount of time. The longer you stake it, the more amount you stake it, the more extra Hex you're going to mint. So basically, it's just saying that, like, yeah, you're dedicating your money to this, and then you end up minting more Hex. So the way you get basically these interest payments on CDs at banks, which was very popular, I think his name is Richard Hart, the creator of Hex. He basically just took one of the most basic financial instruments, a CD, and he put it on a blockchain. And because of that, people are arguing that it's a pyramid scheme, basically, but I don't get why, because no one ever argued that CDs at bank is a pyramid scheme. So maybe I'm missing part of the argument. But the more I learn about it, the less I am inclined to think that it's a scam, because it's just it doesn't seem like it's much to wrap your head around. It's saying it's just, if you get what a certificate of deposit is, which is an instrument that has been around for quite a while, someone just threw that on a blockchain and called it a day. Like the project has borderline, if not 100% uptime. As soon as it launched, it was done. They are not iterating on the code. They are not doing any special. It's done. The project's done. And the reason it's done, and they don't have to my understanding, fix like issues or security flaws or anything, is just because it's basic. The beauty's in its simplicity. It's a CD on the blockchain. Like it's almost weird, because I feel like once you do like an hour or two of research, you actually understand the entire project. Well, like other things like Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, like those take a lot of time to fully understand what's going on. And that's what's kind of fun about Hex, is like, you're like, oh, it's a CD. And someone just put like blockchain technology behind it. That seems sick. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone out there, maybe you know more about it, and you're like, no, it's a scam because of XYZ. Like, let me know. I mean, I have my money in it, and I don't want to have my money in a scam if it is a scam. But the more I learn about it, I don't see how it is a scam. Matt, do you still have your NFTs? Yeah, Matt, Synthetic Girlfriend. I do, yes. Robert Hart is an unconventional genius. People just don't like him because he does what he wants. You should join his Telegram group. He does live calls with the group. Oh, I would do that. I mean, I would love to talk to him. He's a character. He's definitely a character. He's not your like conventional person whatsoever. If you hear him talk, if you search like sorry, I thought his name was Richard. I didn't know his name was. It is Richard. Yeah, okay, it's Richard Hart. If you just search Richard Hart like Hex interview, you're gonna right away realize that the dude is he's a character, to say the least. Do the big news media like Fox and others pay you to be on their show? Did you sign an NDA? No. All of those media appearances, I've never signed an NDA, and I've never been paid to do it. I do all of that for free because I think it's beneficial to the community. I've never received a single penny for an interview. I've never signed an NDA about like what I'm going to say or not going to say. I speak my mind. I answer the questions they ask me, and I've never been financially compensated to do those. Anything we should be on the lookout that can be used as an indicator for the mother of all short squeezes? Yeah, and I don't mean this facetiously. I mean this like very like truthfully. Yeah, you're going to see huge percentage gains. Like you're going to just see massive green bars. No, people try to compare it to BitConnect, but like how? BitConnect was not a CD. Like everyone, like CDs have been around forever. It's not like some groundbreaking financial instrument. Hart literally just put it on a blockchain. So compare that to BitConnect. BitConnect, that comparison, I feel like you just don't even know what BitConnect was, or Hart or Hex, or maybe you just don't understand the two. But there's legitimately no crossover between BitConnect and Hex. BitConnect was a huge scam, but it had nothing to do with putting CDs on a blockchain. Shout out to Manscaped. Just got my delivery, and those free briefs are clutch. About to do some beautiful manscaping. Be comfortable whilst doing it. Just got here, but why isn't GREE allowed to be traded right now? It is on some brokerages, but not all. It sounds like people on Webull and Robinhood are having an issue trading GREE. But I think it's like, we know it's being traded elsewhere because the stock is moving. Not all heroes wear duck shirts. Thanks, Matt. Bistan Clint. Hex is 100% a scam. I know, like, and I don't want to like attack you or ban you. No, but like seriously, like I would love the explanation of why it's a scam, because if it is a scam, I want to stop talking about it. In fact, I want to make a video explaining why Hex is a scam, but maybe I'm too stupid. Maybe I've eaten too many crayons. I just don't understand how Hex is a scam. So like if you have I guess a more in-depth explanation of why it's a scam, I would love to know, because like it doesn't add up in my mind. It's to me, it just seems like one of the most rudimentary forms of it's just interest. It's just yield farming. Like it's not. To me, it just seems so simple. Like the way you put your money up, you dedicate it for X amount of time, and for doing that, you get interest. It's a CD. It's a certificate of deposit. And as you put your money up, you're minting more. Like, where does Hex get the money to pay interest? They're not paying it. You're minting it for yourself. You put up X amount of coins, and then you're minting more coins. It's not coming from anyone else. You're minting them out of, I guess, nothingness. You're minting them for yourself. You're not getting paid by a new person. It's not like Hex coins come from someone else. You're minting them for yourself. You took my CD in broad daylight and you scratched it. To some people, everything is a scam if they don't understand it. I would understand the argument a bit more of calling it a scheme if there was a transfer of some coins to another person, of like, oh, this person steps in and that coin goes from person A to person B, but it doesn't work like that. Your money, your coins are exclusively creating coins for yourself. They're not coming from anyone else. You get them minted as you stake coins, and then that adds to the total supply of Hex coins. Someone said Matic is shooting up. I hope it is. I'm in Matic. That's another one I've been learning about. I need this to get above. I want this to shoot above $2, $3, something like that. How is Matic looking? Matic's looking good. I just want this breakout at $1.50. This is the trend line I've been watching on it. $1.50 breakout. I marked out these as potential buys. Let's see how these play out in the future. We'll have to give it a couple more days, but these little pink purple zones I have as buy zones, and I'm curious to see if I'd be right or wrong. If no additional shares added, should GRE show up on the threshold list? No. Because remember, SPRT is a small percentage of GREE. Why is SPRT delisted? Because it merged with GREE. Shout out to John Ben 99. So I need to learn a little bit more about this pulse chain thing. I'm staking Hex, but never heard of a pulse sacrifice. Is the pulse chain staking? And people think Hex is a scam because Richard owns 50. So he owns a lot, but I also that's an argument I don't get, because at one point in time, this is when you have something new. At one point in time, there was a massive whale who owned a high percentage of all Bitcoin. At one point in time, you had Bezos who owned a high percentage, a huge percentage of Amazon. The same thing about Bill Gates and Microsoft. That's how things work at the start. The person who created it owns a lot of it. To me, that's just what I guess, how a normal business, or really now a crypto runs, is the initial people own quite a bit, and then they end up mining more or stake. There's either more in existence, or the person who originally owned it started to selling it off, or you have share dilutions and things like that. But that, to me, that's normal business. I don't, the argument that Richard owns a lot of it, how does that make it a scam? All of a sudden, if you had a really rich person buy up 50% of AMC, does that mean that AMC's then a scam because someone owns a lot of it? I just don't see that argument. Yeah, M, you have a good point. I think he raised $27 million for charity. People say it's a scam. Then I say, okay, what's your evidence? And they tell me about it. And they're like, because it's just it's a scam. And I'm like, why? Because it is. Great argument. So the Pulse chain, I think, is rolling out next week, and they're just trying to get away from Ethereum because of the gas fees. So basically, to my understanding, they're basically duplicating Ethereum and then trying to get away from the original Ethereum, just because it's getting very expensive, especially with the rise of NFTs. All right. GME in the green, trading at 200. AMC pushing green, has about $1.60 to go, trading at 45.62. All right, so let's do a quick Vortex check on these things. AMC, they've borrowed 2.47 million, short interest 19.5%. GME, they've borrowed 59,000, short interest 13.66%. What's my prediction on AMC today? I would love to, this resistance turning into consolidation, turning into support. Would love to see the breakout of 46.60, followed by AMC going green on the day at 47.30-ish. Chris Warner becoming an astronaut, shout out. If I have 25 call for now GRE and the price is 46.91, what happens to those options? I get a total of 4. I don't think it's 4. I think it's I think you should have more than that, the conversion. Robert, for you to get the exact, without me having to fumble my way through math live right here, you could just call up your brokerage and they'll tell you exactly what you need to know. How dangerous do you perceive August 6th to 9th gap fill? on GNOG. Benny, not that dangerous because remember, GNOG is about to get acquired. It's already in the deal with DraftKings. You're just waiting for the merger to go through. So the gaps don't really matter anymore. I know it's not the same class as AMC and Jimmy, but could you give me perspective on Sens? So that one's not even really a short squeeze play. Sens is more of like, I mean, it might be. Let me check out the short interest, but that's more of like a bet on kind of, it's in the world of diabetes, like prevention and maintenance. It does have actually a high short interest of 25.84%, shares on loan of 96 million. So it's a bit of it's not a low float. So I don't like that. The utilization is 89%. So I do believe there's other better plays, like, I don't know, probably BBIG and ATR are the first ones that come to mind, or IRNT, that are currently better than Sens, just because that one's a higher float stock. And I also don't think it's even on the threshold list. So it kind of has two knocks against it. Please reach out to Richard from the ape community and educate us all about crypto, not just hex. I would love to do that. I really, really would. I don't know if anyone out there has a connection to Richard Hart, but I mean, almost if it's more selfish, I want to learn about it myself because I'm up money. I mean, so back in June, when I first heard about hex and it was explained to me, I had $10,000 in my account, in my debit account. And I was like, all right. So I transferred it over. I bought Ethereum and someone explained it to me. They're like, yo, it's CDs. And I didn't think the coin was going to move. I just wanted to put in 10,000 and I staked it for like 15 years. I was like, oh, I wonder how much interest this $10,000 will get. This was a decade and a half bet for me. And I was just like, oh, cool. I'll just get interest on my 10K and we'll see how this goes. That 10,000 has now turned into like 46,000. So I made like, just on the value of the coin, not even interest, I made a very nice like gain on it. I want to know if I should get out or not. Like I guess I'm not here doing it in the terms of like, hey, like this is crazy, hex, like we all need to get into it. Like I said, almost selfishly, I just want to learn more about it myself to know if I should do it. But all I know, scam or not, I'm up 40K on it. And for me, 40K is a lot of money. I could like, that's big money to me. To some of you, it also might be huge money. To others of you, it might not, it might be small money. I don't know. But to me, it feels like I have a lot of money on the line and I don't want it to disappear. How do we know when all the shorts have covered? Is that the short interest? How can I find the short interest for a certain stock? Yes, short interest, you're looking for that to get very, very low, and you could use Ortex. It's probably the best source that the retail trading public has. And that's what this is. If you want to check it out, it's in this description. Why did it become whatever that is in my Fidelity account? What price? That might just be the interim name for the conversion. Matt, maybe the cart before the horse, but after the mother of all short squeezes, if the market is crashing and the banks are all in trouble, where do we put immediate bananas for safety? If you don't have trust in the overall system and USD, I would actually argue crypto, or you could check out some commodities such as gold or silver or copper or uranium. But there are other things that could be done. But also remember, cash is a position. Just if you don't want to be invested at all, cash is a position. I'm back, Matt. Screw chemistry. Isaac, I have to admit, I've taken a lot of semesters of chemistry, and it hasn't really gotten me anywhere in life. but I do, for whatever reason, have a bunch of chemistry knowledge that, I don't know, it's just taking up brain space, I suppose. So Matt, when the shorts and Gregs need to re-roll their position, they can do it immediately and we can take advantage of that? What do you not? You are a rocket. Re-roll their position. When the shorters and Gregs. Shorts don't necessarily have to re-roll. I mean, once you have a short, if you're paying the cost to borrow, the quadruple witching thing is for options and futures this Friday, not for short positions. I cannot post links in chat. Okay, Saver Law Firm. Seems a bit weird. I think we're up to date there. Brother near a year old and when the scam controversy was rampant. Good vibes and breakdown with Richard and BitBoy Crypto. Oh, interesting. SPY looking strong. IWM looking strong. AMC, it's at its halfway point on the day, hanging out at 45.25, and GME is battling it out at basically 200. Oh, wow. Time flies when you're having fun. It's already 11:25. Folks, just so everyone knows, similar to yesterday, I was planning on getting off at 11. At this point, I'll just ride it out to 11:30, and then I'll be back at 2 p.m. If you are in the Discord, I'm planning on coming in and hanging out there for a bit. We could just chat about whatever you guys want to chat about. For a smart guy, you earn interest. Example is terribly off. It's earned because of the cost to borrow from you, not minting money. No, I'm actually right. I literally just this morning watched Richard, the creator of it, explain that. You mint coin, like you mint hex. That's your interest. Your interest is earning more hex and you're minting it as it's staked. That's the benefit for staking, is you earning more by minting. And this is not my, like literally 2 hours ago, I watched him explain that. Like the creator of it explained it. Outside of Ortex, what are the best data websites? For short interest, I mean, Bloomberg, kind of, even that's behind. I don't know of one that's better than Ortex. Maybe S3. S3, you could check that out. What's up, Counselor Murray? XYO coin on Coinbase is nice entry right now, 0.04 cents. Circulating supply 12 billion for my crypto people. Off exchange YouTube like button. People are talking about any ANY. Is that moving again? Coming back to life? Any gets interesting above 750-ish. Watch for any to show that much strength, and this thing could be back off to the races. People are talking about PLTR as well. PLTR, repping it. I think PLTR is a great long-term investment. I really do. Once this thing gets cruising above 28, I think it's going to just keep going. I truly, truly do. Shout out to everyone hanging out on Rumble. Shout out to everyone hanging out on Twitch. And of course, shout out to everyone on YouTube as well. Whoa. I just lost my YouTube link for whatever reason. All right, now I'm back. Now I'm back. All right, people are asking about CEI. I mean, it's a bit chasey. Like, it was at 33 cents. Why would you want it at $1.60 now? Seems a bit chasey. But hey, if you want to chase, I wish you the best of luck. I wouldn't do it, but if you decide to do it, I hope you crush it. People are talking about Ride. What's going on with Lordstown Motors? Hey, it's finally picking up. So I'm in Ride. I'm also in Workhorse as a long-term EV play for basically it's betting on the U.S. EV industry. Like I said, planning on it being a multiple year hold. I got in this at a very bad price. I got into Workhorse at an okay price, and I got into Hyliion at a horrific price. But once again, I think if I give it enough time, they will come back. I do. Let me double check, just seeing if there's news we should go over before we close up with the morning stream. Workhorse, yeah, when Workhorse lost the USPS contract last year, that was not a good situation. It got pummeled, absolutely pummeled. But I still think it has time to come back. Like, it would have been nice if it got the USPS contract, but it didn't. Stock got destroyed. But I think it just puts off its mission and its growth by a couple years. SPRT is not halted. It's no longer trading. SPRT got absorbed by GREE. GREE. All right, folks, just so everyone knows, that is the end of the morning stream. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I will be back at 2 p.m. Eastern, so in about, 2.5 hours, I will be back. If you're on the Discord right now, I'm about to come in. We can hang out, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And just for everyone who's viewing, just 2 p.m. Eastern, I will be back. Kind of got to stick to this schedule of what is and isn't going on. But right now, I like the strength in AMC. They tried to pummel it this morning. It's coming back. It's bouncing off of support. Watch 4660. Jimmy loves that. It's holding 200. Market looks strong. IWM also actually looking strong. I'm seeing some buyers pouring in. So let's see if this momentum can hold up through the midday session. And I would love to get some enthusiasm as we're closing up the market today from 2 to 4, and especially in power hour. But we're seeing buyers stepping in. I think it's kind of exciting. I love that AMC and Jimmy are refusing to give up. But overall, thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I will be back at 2 p.m. Eastern. And remember, from me and Chair, best of luck in the markets.